Before performing any type of work on Masabi products, consult factory before proceeding with any work that might involve a warranty plan. Servicing may void the warranty. Always call L&M Radiator customer service with questions. Always consult the appropriate service manual when servicing Masabi products. Along with these tools, it is a good idea to use a lubricant recommended by the service manual to help with inserting tubes into seals. While damage to a Masabi core can be often repaired in the field and often without removing the radiator, for the purposes of this video, all repairs are done in a shop setting. All Masabi heat exchangers have a lot in common when dismantling and reassembling. All heat exchangers require high-pressure cleaning, tube removal, seal replacement, tube replacement, and testing. Cleaning can overcome the number one problem affecting heat exchangers: overheating. Cleaning also makes it easier to work on the heat exchanger, and it removes foreign material that could fall into the tanks. A high-pressure hot water washer up to 1200 psi can be used. Given the robust construction of the Masabi cores, you could spray right up to the core and into the fins. The core is clean when water running out the opposite side is clean. Air dry the core using line air. Be aware that most radiator shops use a hot alkaline caustic soda solution in their boil-out tanks that can attack solders. These solutions can affect the solder bond between finning and tube and should be avoided. Begin by removing the ITS bars, or individual tube support bars, if the radiator is equipped with them. Mark which side they are removed from, as they may be different. Then, if possible, heat the tubes and seals with hot water to ease removal. You may need to do this row by row and section by section, and repeat as may be needed. Now, loosen the tube with a breaker tool at either the top or bottom. Then, using the installation tool, place the upper jaw around the round portion of the tube just below the flattened area. Place the lower jaw so it sits on top of the seal, allowing enough clearance of the upset of the tube when the tube is raised. Squeeze the handles and raise the tube just enough to clear the bottom seal, being careful not to damage the upset on the tube. If the tube proves stubborn, a high-pressure 3000 psi wash can be used to loosen both tubes and seals without damage to tubes or headers. Whenever possible, the radiator should be laid flat and finning should be covered to avoid damage. The water temperature should be between 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The tip of the washer must be straight pull style, 0 degrees, and the hole size in accordance with manufacturer's specifications. Blast one row at a time, seal by seal, with nozzle about 1 inch from the seal. It should take a few seconds to free a seal, but you might want to experiment with angle and position of the nozzle to speed the process. When loose, swing the tube out far enough to allow it to be pulled down and out of the top seal using a slight twisting motion. Remove the old seals and clean tube holes with lint-free rag. Refer to the service manual for the proper wire brush to use when required. If you intend to reuse existing tubes, now is the time to check their internal condition for contamination caused by dropout of cooling system corrosion inhibitors. If contamination is present, order new tubes. You can monitor internal contamination by removing 3 or 4 tubes from the air inlet side of the core, a few inches from both edges. Tubes can then be split for inspection. Once you have confirmed tube passages are clean, clean tube ends to make it easier to reinsert them into seals. Use a polishing wheel and copper polishing compound. If this doesn't do the job, use a wire wheel as recommended in the service manual. Be careful not to mar the ends. Now you can remove the seals and clean tube holes as shown earlier. Be sure to check tanks for any seal remnants and rust, as well as any debris left from cleaning the hole. Insert new seals using a small hammer over a metal plate. Bottom seals have the locking groove. Top seals have none. Make sure the shoulder of each seal is tight against the brass ferrule or header plate. Do not use excessive force. Lubricate seals with a lubricant recommended in the service manual. Apply to the outside of the tube ends and the insides of the seals. Petroleum jelly or mineral oil can be substituted, but removing tubes in the future will be more difficult. Begin replacing tubes. Install tubes by pushing the top end of one tube into the top header plate seal. Seat the bottom end by pushing down on the tube until the tube seats in the locking groove. Or by using the installation tool. The tool has a semicircular shape on the end of one of the handles. Place this on the upset of the tube and push downward until seated. Check that the tubes are straight and aligned to ensure maximum airflow. Then proceed to subsequent rows. To conduct a repair with a replacement tube, remove tubes, existing top and bottom seals, clean tube holes, and install new seals as described earlier. Again, use a metal plate and a small hammer to tap securely into place. Be careful not to drive the seals too far into the header. Install replacement tubes as described earlier. Then replace the ITS bars, ensuring they are installed on the same side they were removed from, and your repair is complete. Often is the case in field repair situations, there are no spare tubes available. If no spare tubes are available, and if radiator pressures are less than 15 psi, tube holes can temporarily be plugged with special rubber plugs as a substitute until new tubes are acquired. Temporary plugs are available from L&M Radiator and can be installed in top and bottom header plates. Cover them with a metal plate and then tap them in place using a small hammer. Now we will demonstrate how to replace a tank gasket on Mesabi cores with bolt-on tanks. First, remove tank bolts, straps, and old gasket. Then use a putty knife to remove old gasket remnants. When installing the tank gasket, first make sure the tank header is clean and flat. Then coat the header over the side member flanges with a coat of number 2 Permatex or equivalent. Use grease similar to the one called out in the service manual and coat the remaining header surface. Install the gasket and coat the top side in the same manner. Place the tank on the gasket. Align all holes using a drift punch. Install straps, bolts, nuts, and washers. Snug all bolts. Do not over-tighten, particularly over the side member flanges, as it could potentially split the gasket. Remember, this video is not a substitute for information contained in service manuals. Manuals are available online at www.mesabi.com or by calling toll-free in the United States and Canada at 1-800-346-3500. Tools and parts can also be ordered and shipped within 24 hours. MasterCard and Visa accepted.